everyone, my name is Safira Chatwal and I welcome you to the second episode of the Project Right series, which attempts to generate meaningful discussions about creating safe spaces for marginalized communities. Thank you all for joining us today, and I am so glad to introduce you all to Rudrani, who is a prominent trans right and queer activist. She's the founder of Mitr Trust, a community-based organization that seeks to ensure that trans and queer people are able to lead healthy and fair lives. She's also the founder of India's first transgender modeling agency, BOLD. Thank you so much for being here today. It's such an honor to have you, and we truly hope we make the most of this conversation to garner valuable insights about your work, which will help our listeners become more inclusive and inspire them to work towards the cause of equity. So, I wanted to begin by asking about your inspiration behind the monumental work you've undertaken over the past few years. What drives you to work in this field?
Thank you, Safira, for talking to me, and especially this is Pride Month. So, I mean, more than inspiration, I think it was more of something bad happened, which eventually I tried to turn into good. When I was very young, like adolescent and teenage, I was just trying to understand who I am, especially around the my gender identity. And when I went to this organization, they said, like, if you come next time, try and behave normal. And the idea of normal was because I was assigned as a male child and I was raised as a male child, but I always identified as a female person. And for this organization, my femininity was a problem, and it was year 2004 somewhere. It is long time. So since then, I thought like we should have our own, structure, or our own, some structure body, which we call a community-based organization, where we can support each other rather than controlling them, saying this is not right and this is not wrong. There are people of different kind, and and different choices. It is okay, and some people are born like this.
Hmm.
So I think this is what I'm trying to do. It was more like helping myself to understand who I am. Later, it become a little bigger and larger objective of my life.
My next question is very basic, but I think it's crucial in helping like some listeners explore the area more. So could you tell us about the distinction between gender, sexuality, and gender expression? What do you think gender and sexual minorities are subjected to discrimination? Like, why do you think that happens?
I think it happens with all of them, but we need to understand. Still, people get confused. Even people who have gone to school and colleges, they don't understand difference between
Hmm.
sexual orientation and gender identity. When we especially say these all together, especially we use this LGBTIQ plus all the time, and for another person, they see all of them same. I mean, they don't even understand L stands for lesbian or B stands for bisexual. I'm very sure if some people are homophobic and they come across some person who share this, that I'm a lesbian person, they also may go through discrimination. But for a transgender person, especially trans feminine person, and now also for trans masculine person, because in India they have not spoken about trans masculine people for so long. It's a patriarchy, but sure,
Hmm.
when it comes to discrimination, it is trans people more, the visible one. The,
How would you say that the situation today has changed, like revolving around trans rights and queer rights, compared to when you first entered this field? And what part of society would you say requires more of a change than other?
I get this all the time. I get this all the time. I mean, you're quite young, so imagine when we started our work. I'm 45
Yeah.
now, so when I was 17, 18. I mean, people are not even talking about it. In terms of government, now
Yeah.
the government has come up with different schemes where they're thinking of housing for trans people and jobs and everything. But when you speak of sexual orientation right thing, I think
Mhm.
government is still struggling when we speak of same sex. I mean, health benefit, or marriage rights, or adoption rights for the any lesbian or gay person.
So, regarding Mitra Trust, could you tell me more about its origin story, its like vision, its mission as an organization as a whole?
So, this is how myth started. I mean, my life is almost, lot. everything which turn out to be ugly on my face, you know, I tried to change it, and that's how Myth started. Myth also started because I never felt like going to this organization again, who were, nice on your face, but still they were very transphobic and homophobic. And I felt we need to have this safe space where we are not judged, we are not, corrected every time, we're not asked to do something which we do not want to do. So this is how
Mhm.
we started. Of course, at that time we were not having any kind of technical, knowledge about what to do and what are NGO and what they do. So a friend of mine who's a lawyer, who is also a big part of, the Section 377 thing, he guided us that you should get a formal, structure, because at that time 377 was there, and police used to harass, blackmail, sexually abuse, people from the community. So this is where we got registered Mitr in year 2005 as Delhi's first community-based organization who started working for the community,
Mhm.
especially around the HIV issues. Because when we started work, there was not much talk about all of these things, education, jobs, and everything. At that time, only the survival was one thing, and for survival, almost 99% of people from the community were engaged into sex work because there were no other offerings for them.
Yeah. Well, that's truly beautiful that you've started this. A major reason for the kind of violence that trans people face today is because of their lack of safe spaces and
Mhm.
shelters. For example, someone that's a part of the LGBTQ community may have to leave their home because they don't have that support system in their home. So finding shelters and support systems is very hard. So in this scenario, what does the Mitr Trust do to ensure that as many trans people and people from the LGBTQ community can find a safe space and a safe shelter?
So, shelter home, it's not that it very recent we started. I mean, of course, the government program we started in year 2021, but from a very long time, whenever there used to be a crisis or any other kind of accident where a person would require to stay because they cannot go back to their home, they don't have friends, and nobody is going to give them shelter or safe space. Even during those times, we used to have people for a night or a week or we get very short stay. But now we have a full-fledged structure where we have people coming, living in, and which I believe is very, very important. But it is heartbreaking that the donor agency, uh, who are supposed to help us, they don't pay for years and years. For like this year also, they have not paid for almost 1 year, and the kind of requirement we have, it is more than what we have budgeted. But I believe, you know, this is my commitment. This is the commitment of a community based organization to another person who's looking for support and safe space, rather than, putting it over the government and saying that if you're not giving us money, then we'll shut it down. So I'm not even sure how long it will take. I mean, whether they'll give us money or not. But it is our job, because I know as a trans person, if you're kicked out of your house, your home, you have no, I mean, not even a single place in this world you can go. This is why people from especially transgender women community, they end up doing sex work. They, you know, they they get murdered, they get abused, they get killed, and nobody even have a record of it. If you especially see national crime, records, you'll not find any, person from the LGBT community, and it's a very big problem.
Yeah. What role does research play in your work with Mitra Trust? And what are some
Mm.
key findings that you've uncovered while researching?
See, research, as in, I think research is very important, because even today, if you try and search and Google, you'll not find much available for the LGBT community. There is very
Mhm.
less where people have tried to work with the community and find out about their needs. There is no baseline. There is no need assessment kind of a thing. I think we are still in the stage where we are preparing for us. So now, especially in our organization, a lot of young people come, lot of young people come who come and research there, which I believe maybe not beneficial, may not benefit now, but of course these document and this research work will help in future to plan, make strategize and sit together with maybe the health organization or some community organization or different stakeholders. I think we if these research will show, you know give a lot of input for especially those stakeholders and those government officials who don't do any research and they just want to run a program. So it's better people who have done their research and things, if they are available out there, so they can have a look at it and make up. Maybe it'll help them design programs. And of course, for community also, these research and researchers, especially the college students, they come and ask about basic human right, different questions, SDG things. So they also learn a lot of things. We as in, we are only struggle at this time to, give them food, give them shelter, at least give them basic, some kind of education or skill development. But there are a lot of other plenty of things which they come to know through the research, and of course it is beneficial in future, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Uh, what do you think the role of education in terms of long-term advancement of the trans community plays?
I think education is for anyone very, very important. I think I strongly,
Yeah.
advocate for education. I remember, see, I come from a lower middle class family. See, so while
Mm.
growing up, I was having, you know, trouble with my identity, and mothers know this thing. Every mother in world, they can make out what's troubling their child. So maybe my mother was aware of who I am and what I wanted in my life, and she also was able to predict the kind of difficulties and problems I might face. So when I was very young, she said one thing with my dead name, XY: if you really want to live your life how you want it for yourself, then first thing what you need to do is forget everything and get your education, which I did. Otherwise, if I was like any other person who was not supported by parents, especially I was mostly supported by my mother, in comparison to my father. So if I was not supported, if even my mother was, transphobic or homophobic and I was thrown away from the home, maybe at this time I maybe, was into, I don't know, maybe I was doing sex work or I was doing something else. So
Mm.
education really helped me, see what I want for myself, and I was aware of my rights at least, Though I face difficulty all the time, it's not people don't discriminate now just because I'm aware I can speak and I can do things. I still face discrimination, but I know if people treat me bad, what you know what all I can do about it. So it's good. It's
Yeah, to make you more independent in a
important.
way. Yeah, definitely. So historically speaking, trans women have had a unique place in the history of beauty. From actors and models like India Moore and Hunter Schafer, trans women have redefined what it means to be beautiful and launched very iconic trends in fashion in the Western world. How do you see the place of trans women in the world of beauty, and why do you think it's important to work on that?
Mm. See, my personal experience, I mean, especially when we speak of trans feminine people with almost no resources, and by their own, whatever they earn, for example, if they earn 100, I believe they spend 40 on themselves to look beautiful, look more feminine. I mean, they try to go to this extreme to get what they want for themselves. So it's not only those who somehow qualify to be there as models and supermodels and actors, but I think everybody in community, they try their 100% to look beautiful, nice, and this is where somehow they've started overdoing it, and this is
Mhm.
because nobody's there to guide them and nobody's there to tell them. So when you see most of the time, I do have friends and other people, they share, why do they do so much of makeup? Why do they, look so loud? For me, it isn't, this extra attempt to have, hide their masculine side and, be more feminine. So I think it is very, very important. And in India, especially, it is about the representation. In West, I think they are doing fabulous. They are, people are getting Oscars and, those other awards. India is, it's really started now. It's not even you speak, of, UK and US. If you see their old content, especially in the television, I mean, they are also transphobic and homophobic. The same
Yeah.
happened. The same happened in India also. But now gradually it is changing, and a lot of people from our community, of course, want to penetrate into this industry where they want to be treated equally. But most of the time, most people do fail because in terms of equity, you're again you're not seen, you're not visible. See how, and if the women, if we speak of women, right, we all women, I mean, I believe so that women think that men one day realize that we need to empower women, then they started sharing workspaces and everything. It's not that. Men one fine day realize that women are cheaper labor, and this is why they
Mm.
may them do their jobs. And I think this is what the situation even at present with trans community. So the, especially these jobs, modeling, acting, and the beauty thing. First of all, it's very, very competitive, and also somebody who is into this and who wants to get there, they have to go through this 1 to 3 year of struggling period, where if you have parents and family support, you can do it. You may achieve that. But somebody from a trans community, all by how herself, it's challenging, but people are doing it. I'm very happy for them because we also started our modeling agency, and people are working now. I mean, it's not big, but yes, it's there.
That actually helps me flow amazingly into the next question, which was what inspired you to start BOLD Bold and what kind of work does it do?
Oh, again, it is the same, story where I was rejected to getting inside a shopping mall. There's this shopping mall here, Janakpuri, and they said like people, they said like in Hindi, आप जैसे लोगों के लिए कुछ नहीं मिलता, which means there is nothing available for people like you. And though I stood there for almost an hour trying to convince the security guard, please let me get in. I'm no threat. I'm not going to create any nuisance. I'm just going inside to, give you guys business. But these magazines, fashion magazine, any kind of magazines, films, or, things, I think these are very nice way to educate and let other people understand we look fine. We can do the same kind of thing what other cisgender heterosexual people can do. So this was the idea, and eventually, I think it is. We are there. We are there. I mean, at least there is a milestone. Maybe not now, 25 years or 30 years. Maybe after I die, but something will beautiful happen. It will one day. I think of we winning us Miss World, Miss Universe. So please, I mean, we have started our work.
Yeah, I'm sure that day will come. I'm positive that day will come. What do you think are some of the concerns faced by trans people that urgently need to be like, addressed in terms of public policy? I know you said about like the rights thing about like adoption and things like that, but do you think there's any other areas?
Uh, I think I'll not only speak for trans people, but I'll speak for the entire queer community and all other my brothers and sisters from the community. I think we need to have this anti-discriminatory law. I think then only things will be little sorted and in real terms equal for us. Now it is
Mhm.
something like when you speak about rights. For example, one of the thing, if me as a trans woman get sexually abused by any other man or a person, there is a, punishment for 2 years of jail or something. But if it is for any other cisgender heterosexual woman. It can be, 12 and more than 12 years. So when I say that, in terms of policy, that, I mean, of course, we can talk about, point to point, whether it's about your housing thing, whether it is about your, pension, whether it is about your health scheme, but also when we want to think in terms of, social beings, and getting married and having child adoption and those kind of a thing, we still have to advocate and be there, because it's not only all those things, but it is also about the benefits. If tomorrow, I get in trouble or I need to get operated, I need to have a surgery. And if there is nobody to sign a document for me, then what will happen to me? I mean, I need somebody close in my life who can take a, good decision. I don't want to end up in a hospital where some medical team will take a decision for me. So this is what the idea is.
Mhm.
Everybody needs, at least someone in their life who they can see as a partner. Maybe not husband and wife. I mean, partner is a good idea. So benefits, for example, if I do have a partner who dies and I'm all alone, what kind of benefits I get as a single widow person? So all kind of the small. It may look very small, and it may look like for a small section of people, but there are big section of people who just don't want to come out, because they know if they come out and they live their life as per their choices, their all these rights will be taken away from them. So that's the major
Yeah.
problem. It is not a minuscule community. It is made the way they're made to hide and not to come out.
Yeah. Also, I think these small things can really go a big way and change somebody's life in a big way, even
Of
if they
course,
appear small. Yeah.
of course. I always want to have a kid. I know I cannot, have a baby of my own, and I don't even want to. But when I see there's so many kids whom I can adopt, at least one kid, I may not be able to do everything, but whatever little I can do it to raise this child, I can do that. So a lot of the
Hmm.
women, trans masculine person, they want to adopt, they want to get married, they want to have, benefit as partners.
Has there ever been an instant in your career, or a moment where you felt that, you've had a deep, significant feeling towards it, or it's been a very personal moment to you, like any point in your campaigning life or like in your career?
One thing for sure, as a trans woman and as me myself, when I see myself as Rudrani Chhetri, I mean, every day is almost same. I don't know. I'm so busy doing my own things, sorting out life and taking care of the shelter home kids. I don't know. I don't have much time for myself. I think I enjoy doing what I do for myself. But I think
Yeah.
one of the good moments, I believe, when I was again thrown out, when I was thrown out of my home, uh, once my elder brother got married and things were not nice. I struggled for almost 4 years homeless, though I was working. Then, with the help of my friends and you know other people, I bought my small little home, a flat. I think that day was amazing for me. From since that day, whenever I meet somebody who's young, who's struggling, and they want direction for life, I say just do one thing: work hard, make money, buy a small room or whatever, but buy a home for yourself. I think that can be the biggest and
Yeah.
most happiest moment for you. I think. And with your own hard-earned money, it's not you get from somewhere.
That's very sweet. Um, Finally, would you have anything, any last words or any moments or any information that you would like to share before we finish?
Oh no, this is Pride Month. Our love is for everyone, and I think still there is a lot of transphobia and homophobia. but it is not because they are so. It is because they're groomed in the condition this way. And we, as a human being who are informed, it's our responsibility when we see something not nice happening to anyone, as an informed person, to get in and tell them, sort this out. And it's people choice. I mean, I just want to say that as a person, as a human being, and as a trans woman, and as a person from the queer community, I don't want anything lesser than everyone is getting. I don't want
Mm.
anything more than everyone is getting, but I will not compromise anything lesser than everybody is getting. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is fair. I mean, this is fair. I mean, there's no shit. I mean, I'm just asking something, I mean, which will give you no harm. It is no harm treating other people equally and giving them their rights. That's it. And for young ones, especially people like you, it's really amazing that you want to work with communities. Which, if you go 10 years ago, people would really scare their kids and don't even go and interact with them. So this is nicer, and I'm always up for working with the young ones. So, and thank you for all the clinic and research work you guys have been doing. It's
No,
really
thank you for letting me help. I think we all benefited from this, if I'm being honest.
great.
Um, yeah, and I agree with you when you say, I think it's like the culture that people are grown up in and the values that they're taught that make them believe a certain thing. Um, if that system changes, I mean, it's obviously hard to change a whole system of a whole country. Um, but if that whole system changes, then so much could change so quickly.
Yes, I know, and also
Yeah.
very few people come to help LGBTQ community organization. They all want to work with children and women. I really appreciate that. I really believe they all need help. But when it comes to community, I think I mean, help is very limited. So I think even spreading a word, there are community-based organization with very less support. If can people can raise this voice and spread this awareness. So I think it also may help.
Yeah, I fully agree. Anyway, that was very insightful, very inspiring. Thank you so much for the meaningful conversations that we had and for shedding a light on the different aspects of trans and queer lives. I'm so grateful to you and for all of your answers. And that's it for today's interview. Thank you so much for making time for me.
Thank you,
Have a great
Safira.
day.
Wishing you very best of luck.
You too. Thank you so much.